Hey, hey, hey. Okay. I'm excited to get into this today. We are really going to be talking about the key to overcoming overwhelm. Listen, I was going to say, I don't know about you, but I kind of do know about you because I've been talking to you. I've been talking to you in your organizations. I've been coaching you. I have been, you know, in meetings. I've been all over the place when it comes to just helping us navigate these challenging times. And when I ask people how they are doing, they say overwhelmed. They say overwhelmed. And there's a lot of, a couple of other statements that they make as well. But at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to being overwhelmed and feeling this sense of just weightedness on us. And I wanted to definitely have this conversation today about how do you actually even truly overcome overwhelm, because at the end of the day we all still have to not only survive, but I truly want us to still be able to thrive even when things are difficult and hard. I think that is important for us to ultimately thrive. And so, of course, I'm Dr. Kiki Ramsey, and I am, so excited to be able to continue to help women succeed in life. And so, I'm really excited about that. And so, I want to first talk about why overwhelm really truly hits us the way that we do, especially if you are a high achieving woman, why it really hits you the way that it does. And I think that the reason why it hits us so deep is because we've been sold a lie that we can have it all right? But no one tells you that there's a cost to trying to have it all, right? To have it all together, to have it all, put into place, to do it all. And I'm the first person to tell you. It's funny because me and my team were just having this conversation today about how even myself, I do so many things, and a lot of the things that I do, I feel like when I say yes to these things, it's in service of helping women and making the world a better place. And true, it's super true that all those things are happening at the same time, but I also have to then ask myself a question before I decide to do the thing. Is this going to be in service of my health? Is this going to be in service of my mental health? Like, what is this ultimately going to be in service for when it comes to me? And is this the right decision to say yes? Um, and sometimes I get there, and sometimes I don't. And I make the mistake of potentially saying yes, and then it can be overwhelming and it might be a little too much. And so I have to then decide what I do from there. You might understand that. I was just saying that I am the wow, right? In most of my relationships. And then my assistant, my husband, all these other, beautiful people in my life are the how. I'm a big vision thinker. I want to do it all. I want to have it all. And in my mind, I have unlimited time. But in reality, none of us has unlimited time. As a matter of fact, the one thing that you cannot get back is time, period. So, how do you overcome this lie that we've been sold about we can have it all, and not understanding that, yeah, you can potentially have all these things going on, but it's going to be at a cost. Nobody ever talks about the cost. It's going to cost you some time, some energy, some money, some sanity. It's going to cost you something if we are going towards and the ideal that we can have it all. And we also, as women, as high achieving women, we carry this invisible load. Y'all done heard about that? So we lead at work, we care for our families, we manage the schedules. Okay, somebody, we manage the relationships, and then we still, at the end of the day, have to take care of ourselves. And a lot of that can be so burdensome on us when it comes to this invisible load. And when I talk about an invisible load, I mean, like, a lot of times we have to think about all of the things, not just, work, but even with family, we got to think about the schedules and stuff. With the house, I got to call the plumber. I got to do these things. Like there's so many things that we carry in terms of load that is not necessarily seen, or it's not necessarily something you can put on your to-do list. It's just something that you actually have to do. And so with that being said, if you're also carrying the visible load and you're trying to do all the things, it is super easy to be overwhelmed. And I can remember a season where, I even had 2 babies under 2, and I was working on my PhD, running businesses and still trying to show up for everybody and everything. And I was completely overwhelmed. And I had to really take a step back and realize that I couldn't be overwhelmed and be ashamed at the same time, because overwhelm isn't a sign of weakness. It's just a signal. It's a signal, y'all. It's a signal that something absolutely needs to change. So if you are here today and you are feeling overwhelmed, then that's your signal that something is wrong. And a lot of times I know we can choose to ignore the signals that our body is giving us and our mind is giving us, but it's time to stop. It's time to stop. It's super interesting, right? Because I truly feel like we are in a really crazy times right now. We're in very difficult times. We're in very dangerous times, to be factual. And I bear the burden of a lot of things that are going on in our country, because I am a huge advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I believe that we all should be treated with dignity and respect, and be able to show up with the skills that we have in organizations, and not be discriminated against based on our color, our race, our religion, and all those things, right? So I bear this burden. And lately, I have been watching more news than I need to be watching. And the reason why I know that is because I've been having, negative thoughts, kind of like nightmares about everything that's going on. And it's been super overwhelming for me. And I had to really be vigilant about pulling back from how much media, how much I am taking in, because I can't take in, all of this media and still be able to hold space for others at the rate that I was doing it. So I had to step back, right? And we have to understand those things. So my body was dreaming about all these things that I have responsibility for and holding this space, and that's not good for me. It ain't good for you either. So my body was saying, "Ma'am, you are overwhelmed and you need to do something about it." And your body may be saying the same thing for you. And, when we talk about overwhelm, from a positive psychology perspective, because y'all know I'm a positive psychologist, so I'm always bring that in to play, because I really feel like it truly does help when it comes to overcoming overwhelm. And so from a science standpoint, overwhelm is this sign that we've lost some sense of control and clarity in our lives. So when it comes to the science of it, when you get overwhelmed, it's like you feel like you've completely lost like control and clarity over your life. And that's why you'll see people who are overwhelmed. They seem kind of like frantic, or they seem, somewhat like manic or scattered. It's because they actually feel inherently like they don't know where they're going. They don't have control over the situation. They don't have clarity of what's happening next. And that's making them behave in a certain way. And in positive psychology, we call this a low perceived control. We call it low perceived control. And it is directly linked to stress and burnout and even depression. So, but there's good news. The good news is that we can take small steps and very intentional actions that align with our values to regain a sense of control. And I love that because, and this is what I've been telling all of my clients, that especially even during these times right now when so many of us are feeling this sense of overwhelm, which is, just this sense of that we don't have control. Because think about it. You can wake up every single day and there's something different on the news, right? There's something that is popping at you and you're like, what in the world is actually happening right now? And you don't know what's happening. And if you're anything like me, being a Black woman in America and seeing some of these things that are happening in our country, it is a direct hit to my heart as a person who was born and raised in this country that shows such disrespect for my even existence on a daily basis. Whew. Wow. To wake up every day and to see, people who are trying to change history when history has already been written, is hard, right? And it can be super overwhelming. But what I have to do, I do a couple things that we're going to talk about here. One is pray profusely. But I also do lean back on my values, right? And I align my actions with the values of who I am and what I stand for. Because I believe that we all deserve to have dignity and respect, and we deserve to be valued because we are here, because you're here. And so one of the things that I do each night is this little exercise, right? And it's called 3 Good Things. And I love this because this is absolutely rooted in positive psychology and gratitude. And I am forever grateful because although, things can be crazy and difficult, at the end of the day, I'm still blessed and you are too. Things could be worse. And I mean, things are getting bad. And I pray that, we can, align our actions with our values so that we can stand up for the things that we believe in at the end of the day. And so I write down these 3 good things. And so what this is you take, your whole entire day, and you do this at night, you get a notebook or something like that. And you simply write down 3 things that were good during your day. Just simply 3 things. And let me just tell you, these things can be small. They don't have to be anything catastrophic or just huge and, humongous and everything like that. They don't have to be that. They can be small, they can be intimate, they can be as much as I got to have a cup of coffee today from my favorite coffee shop, right? Or that it can be you got to read a chapter or two in your favorite book, or the book that you're reading right now. You got to read a chapter. One thing for me, like I love HGTV, and I am, currently watching a couple shows on HGTV, and it might be for me getting to watch a show on HGTV before I go to bed, or getting to talk to my kids after they get out of school and they tell me something awesome. Simple, simple. And this is proven to boost your happiness, to boost your gratitude, to boost your thankfulness over a period of time. So if you do this for a week, by the end of the week, you're going to be happier. You're going to be more grateful. You're going to be more appreciative of your life, even though things can be going crazy outside of your space, outside of your sphere, right? So that's just one quick exercise that I wanted to give you all, so that if you are thinking about this and you want to really overcome overwhelm, that's just one quick exercise. But the real reason, here's a real reason that we are all super overwhelmed, is that, and I've discovered that, and it's not just in my own life, but in coaching thousands of women, is that overwhelm is rarely about having too much to do. It's rarely about having too much to do. It's about doing too many things that don't align with your values. Oh my God. Can I say it again for you? Overwhelm is rarely about having too many things to do, but more so doing too many things that do not align with your values, or that you feel obligated to do out of guilt, fear, or pleasing other people. Come on, somebody. Listen, I know. I know. Can I get an amen? If you are here with me live in today's class, go ahead and drop your name in the chat. Give me an amen, something, because I know this for a fact, because I've coached thousands of women on this very, very topic. I have, and I understand that we have a lot to do. Trust me. If you were to look at my to-do list and everything like that, you would see that there's always a lot on that list. But if I were to really sit back, which I do often, and because I'll get to a place where I'm super overwhelmed, and I'm talking about, why am I so overwhelmed? And I look at the list, and so many of those things are out of alignment. They're out of alignment with what I should be doing. They're out of alignment with the time that I need to do them, meaning, can I have somebody else do them? Can I ask for help from somebody else? They're out of alignment because I wanted to do them because I really wanted to say yes to this person, but that then goes into people pleasing. I wanted to do them because I feared I would lose the opportunity if I didn't do it. I wanted to do it because I just ultimately felt guilty that if I said no, then I wouldn't be perceived as the person that I think that I am. How many of you feel that way? Yeah. I can see all those invisible hands, right? I can see your hands in the chat. Thank you so much for that. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to do too much out of alignment. You're not overwhelmed because you are incapable, right? You're not. You're overwhelmed because you're carrying the responsibilities and the expectation and the burdens that are not even yours to carry. Like, We're not incapable. As a matter of fact, we're very, very capable. We're absolutely capable of making this thing happen and doing all the things. But you are out of alignment because you're carrying all these responsibilities. And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to answer this question. I'm a coach. And so, let's get into some coaching. What am I carrying that no longer serves me? What am I carrying that is no longer mine to hold? What am I carrying that I don't need to be carrying? Woo-wee. That question alone, right there, can absolutely change your life. I'm not even like, I had to ask myself that. And as a matter of fact, I ask myself that on a consistent basis because if you're a person like me, I'm a wow person. I see the big vision. I'm a big vision thinker. And I don't necessarily think about the how when I'm thinking like that. It's just inherent to me to be a wow person, big vision thinker. And so I don't think about the details that it's going to take for me to do a thing. And so when I do that, when I'm in my wow, stages of life, which is often, I might say yes to a whole bunch of things without thinking about what that is going to entail and how I'm going to get that actually done and how that's going to ultimately affect my life. I'm going to give you a prime example. Um on my lunch break last Friday, as a matter of fact, my company, Picaddy, we were finishing up our last 3-day set of coach training. And during break, I was like, hey, let me look at my emails real quick because we be doing all the things at the same time. So I looked at my emails and I saw this race. It was the Atlanta 4-miler. And I was like, oh, and it said last chance to join the Atlanta 4-miler, which is happening tomorrow. And I'm right now training, or supposed to be training, for the Peachtree race, which is here in Atlanta. It's a big deal. It's on the 4th of July. It's thousands of people. We be having fun. But we running and it's hot and I need to be training for that. And I said, oh, this will be great training for the Peachtree. Let me register for this race. Now, mind you, this is a Friday. This is happening on a Saturday. This is how I do things sometimes. So I registered for the race, and we finished out our positively diverse leadership coach training module with all of our participants, and it was fantastic and phenomenal. And then after it was all said and done, I was celebrating, and I was like, well, let me look at the weather. Oh my gosh. It was supposed to be raining all day the next day, like all day, not stopping. And I'm like, did I not think to look at the weather before I registered for this race? But I did not, because I'm a wild person. And so I woke up the next morning and it is pouring down raining. So now I'm overwhelmed because I have to make a decision. Am I going to run this race in the rain? Because the rain is not scheduled to stop after I've paid my money. Or am I just going to forego the race and just stay home? And I laid in bed for a while trying to figure out what I was going to do. Long story short, I ultimately got out of the bed and I got up and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the race. I'm going to see if there's anybody else there. But there's one thing about runners. We always going to be there. I don't care if it's rain, sleet, snow. Runners, a true runner is going to be running. And so, of course, thousands of people were still there. And I decided to do the race. I got into my car I had, my raincoat on and all that kind of stuff. And I ran the race and I did fairly decent to have not been conditioning and stuff like that. But that one decision, because I didn't prepare or because I just said yes, automatically caused me so much overwhelm to where I literally did have to run in the rain. And I don't know if I would have made that decision had I had all the information. But that's how we be doing. Right? Like that's how we be doing when it comes to overwhelm. And so I have to sit back sometimes and I look at all the things that are on my plate and I have to ask myself this same question. What am I carrying that no longer belongs to me? That is no longer mine to hold. And that's something that you need to do as well. So here's the good part, real quick, before we hop out of today's class. I'm going to give you my 4-part to walking through overwhelm and how to overcome it. This is what, oh my God, I'm so excited about this because I do this somewhat on a quarterly basis because it just needs to happen. And I didn't necessarily come up with this, but I don't know where I ultimately got this from, but it does work in my life. And this is, what I think needs to happen. So number one is you got to pause. Pause before you say yes. Pause before you respond. Just stop. Do not say yes before you pause. Take a visible breath if you need to, because I've been known to do that. Somebody asked me something or I'm considering doing something. I have to pause. And the reason when I get myself into a difficult situation where I'm overwhelmed because there's so many things that are going on and so many things on my to-do list is because I didn't pause. It's because I didn't do this. You have to take a breath and ask yourself, how do I really feel right now? Because the truth is, awareness is the first key. It's just the first step to changing, to taking charge of your life, to not being a yes woman, to not saying yes to just because you want to please everybody else. This is the first step. You take that break. And so sometimes I do it. Somebody asks me something and I'll be like, I don't know. So versus my first statement being, yeah, I can do that, is, I'm not sure. Can I get back to you on that? Let me think about that. Let me get more information. I'm the queen of get more information. For some reason, sometimes people don't want to give you more information because they just want you to say yes, but give me all the information so I can make an informed decision, right? Because I can always look at the information, and even if I know that I'm going to say no, for myself, I like the information because if the opportunity ever comes back again in the future and I am available, then I at least have a little bit of information to go off of, right? When I'm making these decisions about saying yes or no to something. So you have to pause. You have to pause, right? And so these are P's. All of these are the P's to overcoming overwhelm. So that's number one. Number two, prioritize. Here's my favorite tool, and it's called the 4D method. The 4D method. Do it, right? This is what you're going to do. You're going to have all these D's, and you're going to figure out whether you're going to do it, delay it, delete it, or delegate it. I love this so much because this is the one that I do on a quarterly basis. I figure out my list because sometimes my list, if your list is anything like mine, it'd be a running list. It just be running on and on. And I might get some things marked off, but then some things stay on it for a while. And after things are on it for any period of time, you got to use the 4D method. Do it, which means if it is urgent and it aligns with you, then you do that now. You do it now, though. Delay it if it is important, but not urgent, you need to schedule it, right? If it's important, but it ain't urgent, just schedule when you're going to do it. Delete it because it doesn't matter. You got to let it go. And let me tell you, there are some things that you just need to delete, please, because it's been on your list for a whole long time and it ain't important. Let it go. And then delegate it. If somebody else can do this thing for you, let them. Ask them, right? Like me, I'm fortunate enough to have an assistant, and I'm always trying to make sure that these are things, the things that are on my list are not things that she can do. Because if these are things that Nicole can do, then at the end of the day, she needs to do these things, right? Like, because it's going to take a burden off of me, and then it'll take a burden off of you. If you have an assistant, or if you have some, a partner in crime at home, maybe there are some things that your spouse can do that you don't have to do, right? I mean, me and Jamil, we are really good at trying to divvy up things in a household and with the kids that will make sense for each other. And sometimes one of us may have more on our plate than the other as it pertains to some of these things, but we still try to make it as fair as possible. And when I feel like I can't do something, I'll ask him, can he do it? Because I'm overwhelmed or it just needs to get done. So I love the 4D method. I use it all the time. It helps so tremendously. It helps tremendously. And then the third P is protect. Protect. You got to set boundaries, right? Like I'm not even playing. You got to set boundaries based on your values, though, what you truly value. Say no with love is good, right? I know some of us don't like to say no because we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. We just so sweet and so nice. And I'm never telling anybody to be mean about it or anything like that, because it's really not necessary. But you still have to say no. Like, the fact remains is that you still need to say no so that you're not overwhelmed. And you can say no with love. One thing that when you're saying no, you have to communicate clearly, communicate your needs, because protecting your peace is something that you need to do like your life depends on it, because it does. Because as we said, overwhelm can lead to stress and depression and anxiety. And you don't want that. You don't need that in your life, right? And when I say saying no, part of saying no may be saying no to yourself. One of the things that I've learned about being a boss, right, is that when you're in charge or when you're a leader, you can get a lot of things done because you lead these projects. And so some of what I have to do is manage myself. And because I'm a wow person, and I like the big picture things, and I like to do all the things. Like I love what I do. I think these things are fun, but are they going to cause me stress and overwhelm in the long run? And sometimes they really can. And so I have to learn how to tell myself no a lot of the times, and really walk myself through a process of, what would this ultimately do if you said yes to this key? Like, what would this do? And coaching really helps, right? Coaching really helps, which y'all know I was going to say that, because coaching will change your absolute life. And so I think that really helps. Therapy really helps as well. It helps you get down to the root cause of why you decide that you got to say yes in the first place all the time anyway. Chances are that's rooted in some kind of trauma in your history that you might need to just talk to somebody about, right? It can do a world of a difference. And the last P is to practice, practice, practice. Create a ritual, create a routine of, really getting up in the morning time, giving yourself time to pray or meditate. I know that's what I do. I get up either 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I give myself time to pray and meditate. Give yourself a minute to maybe journal, right? Go for a walk or do working out. But this is all about self-care, because I truly believe when you feel full, then you don't feel like you have to tell everybody yes, because you're not feeling inadequate. A lot of times when we say yes to all the things, it's because in some area of life we're feeling inadequate. I know. And so we say yes to make us feel less inadequate in those areas of life, but it doesn't do anything besides make you feel more overwhelmed. But if you are taking care of yourself, if you're filling yourself up, if you're eating good foods, if you're exercising, if you're praying, if you're journaling, if you are taking care of yourself, you might not feel the need to say yes to all the things because you are content. Come on, somebody. Mm. All right. So those are the 4 P's. And so here is your coaching assignment. Y'all know it. I was going to give y'all something to walk away with, right? I want you to take an overwhelm inventory. And so what this means is I want you to take about 15 minutes to list out everything that's on your plate right now. This is personal, this is professional, this is emotional. I want you to take about 15 minutes and just list out all the things. You probably already got a list. If you anything like me, boo, you already got the list. And so this is not part that you actually have to do. You just have to go to your list of all the things that you got that are on your plate. But if you don't have the list, or if you haven't put the personal aspect or the emotional aspect on your list, go ahead and put those on there, because like I told you, a lot of us bear an invisible load, and sometimes that invisible load never gets written down. So make sure that your invisible load is also on that list. And then what I want you to do is I want you to apply the 4D method to that. I want you to either do it, delay it, delete it, or delegate it. You got to go down your whole list. Leave nothing out. You either got to say that you're going to do it, you're going to delay it and you're going to schedule it, you're going to delete it, or you're going to delegate it. And how I do this is I do it just like that. And the things that I'm going to delay, what I do is I have my assistant put them on a delay list, and I tell her when to bring them back up for me. You can do this for yourself. You can have a whole delay list, and you can put the things on there that you do want to get done, but you want to delay it. And you put it on that list, and you want give yourself a reminder, whether it's in your calendar or something, about when that thing you want to revisit that thing. So you can say, remind me to go back to this project on, I don't know, August 31st, whatever, right? And then you put that in your calendar, and on that day it's going to pop up, right? And then you can decide if you want to continue to delay it, delete it, do it, or delegate it at that time. And it works wonders. So I want you to do that. And then I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. What can I let go of this week to reclaim my peace? Hello. What can you let go of this week to reclaim your peace? Second question, what boundaries do I need to reinforce? What boundaries do you need to reinforce in your life? There are some that have been broken and you let them break. But now it's time to put them back. And the last question is, where am I saying yes when I really mean no? Where am I saying yes? What am I saying yes to that I really need to be saying no to? Okay? If you do these things, I promise you, overwhelm is going to dwindle. I mean, it is going to dwindle. And it's going to be a beautiful thing, because at the end of the day, we want to be living wholesome lives. We want to be living abundant lives. I don't want us walking around overwhelmed no matter what's going on in our world. Awesome. All right. So I just want to say one last thing. As some of you know, I am hosting the Thrive 25 Women's Conference right here in Atlanta, Georgia on July the 12th and 13th. And it is a space where you can truly reset, reignite your purpose, and really discover the career or business that you were meant to have, and learn how to make the money that you deserve while doing something that you're ultimately passionate about. And so I'm sending you my personal invitation to join me. All you need to do is go to kikiramsey.com/thrive25 to purchase your tickets. I'm excited about what the Lord is doing and what he's going to do at this conference. And this has been a labor of love. Let me just tell you that. And it's shaping together so beautifully. And I really would love to see you in the room, because I know the breakthroughs that are already going to be had from just women gathering in this space where I'm teaching. I got some amazing other teachers who are going to be there pouring into you so that you can walk away understanding your God-given purpose and how to truly manifest this career or business that you love and make the money doing so. So go to kikiramsey.com/thrive25 to get your tickets today. And I can't wait to see you absolutely in person. And as always, you have the ability to create your own happiness. So go out there and do it, and also shed some beautiful light on the world. All right, y'all. Peace.